I'm really bad at remembering to lock the door. So I started looking into smart locks and they're just crazy expensive. I decided to challenge myself and build something simple with the parts I had lying around the house. This is how I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to use my favorite tool, the Raspberry Pi. I'm going to use this servo motor. If you don't know what these are, it's essentially a motor where you can tell it to move the position of this arm as opposed to just rotating freely in one direction or another. This is what I'm going to use to hopefully turn the lock. I'm also going to use this Raspberry Pi camera module. I'm going to put this over the peephole and I'll be able to see who's at the door and let them in. So let's wire everything up. First, let's turn on the Raspberry Pi. We can go ahead and put the camera module in as well. Next, let's wire up the servo. Then we can connect the servo to the Raspberry Pi and the power source. Let's go over the code quickly. I built a really small Flask API because I want to be able to communicate with the Raspberry Pi from a web app I'm going to build. And there's essentially two different routes. One is called peephole. All peephole does is take a photo with the camera and then return that image back to me. The second route is lock, and there's going to be two methods. One is get. If I request that, it's just going to return the status, so it's either locked or unlocked. If it's a put, then I'm going to toggle the lock. So if it's locked, I'm going to unlock it and vice versa, and then I'm going to return the status back. When I make a new instance of the lock class, I'm going to automatically set it to lock. This is because I don't want the application to accidentally restart, let's say in the middle of the night, and unlock the doors. So it's better to just play it safe. The lock method just goes to the maximum position and the unlock to the minimum position, and both of them update this boolean is locked. And this is what the web app looks like. So it shows a big picture of what is going to be the peephole, and then a little button here that's going to let me lock and unlock the door. And this is what it looks like when you put everything together. I've got the camera right there. It's recording me, as you can see on the screen. And here I have the lock status with the button that's going to toggle the lock. So this is what happens when you click it. It unlocks and it changes the status. And we can do that one more time. As you can see, the image has been refreshing the whole time. Now for the hard part. I need to figure out how I'm going to mount all of this to the door without using any screws or nails. I'm going to have to get really creative with double-sided tape and a couple other things I have around the house. First thing I did was attach the servo to this, which is steel strapping. That's because it's malleable, so I can get it to form this shape, and it's going to be pretty easy to attach these to the door with double-sided tape. And I've just zip tied it to the base. I added one more little feature using if this then that, and I set it up so that if I say, "Hey Google, lock the door,"
locking the front door,
it locks the door, and I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's see how everything works together. So the door is currently locked and the button says locked at the bottom. So when we click it, it should unlock the door. Awesome. And now let's try to lock the door again. One thing I didn't account for is the fact that the peephole is actually quite deep. I don't know what to do about this. For now, it's fine because you can still tell who's at the other side. And let's see if Google Home is still working. Hey Google, lock the door.
locking the front door,
Awesome. And there you have it, a smart lock. One of the things that I realized is that the door is angled a little bit, so it actually doesn't lock all that well after it's been unlocked. Usually you have to push against the door a little bit, and obviously I have no way of doing that. So as you saw, it barely works. This would be a great way to get your home invaded in the middle of the night, so don't recreate this if you're thinking about using it seriously. As you just saw, it's possible to recreate the basic mechanism of a smart lock with $20 in parts and a couple lines of code. As always, let me know what you think, and let me know if you have a suggestion for something that you'd want me to hack on next. Stay safe and don't forget to lock your doors.